My dad had 3 wives. Very familiar pattern, to be honest. Get married, have a kid, divorce. Marry, kid, divorce. And his most successful marriage, by the time in and time out metric, was the one where having children was no longer on the table. I have a fond memory of my father, before his 3rd stroke, where he told me, "I love your stepmom, but if I have to go find another wife, I will." My dad, a flawed man among men, was also what I would term a bit of a romantic. I miss you, Dad. We'll talk on Mondays. See, Mondays are my cry day. I'll make a video about how vital the ritual really is at a later date. But crying, that's about as human as we get, folks. Easy to forget that. Gotta keep the pipes flowing and all, right? Much like the internet. We're all just a series of tubes. Welcome or welcome back. I'm Man Needs a Code with a kind reminder to not let anyone tell you what to like or sub to. God knows King H VIII didn't. Henry was a consumer in every meaning of that word. He loved to fight, he loved to feast, and other words that start with F. You know, like founding a church. Why? What were you thinking? Anyway, he gorged on life so much so that we kind of owe him for the concept of a turducken, a bird within a bird within another bird. Think Russian nesting dolls, but with roasted fowl. From peacocks to geese, the man also loved to take a bit of a gander at the ladies. In today's work, we'll learn how Henry VIII was a romantic, and maybe we were too quick to condemn the past without giving it its proper due. I do. My dad and King H both said this more than a couple of times, and I think that in the moment, they perhaps meant it. You know that feeling when you're knocked down, but you're not quite out yet? That dick in the dirt feeling, or Richard in the rough if you want to keep it classy here. The crown is really about the jewels when you cut right to the heart of the matter. Or if you want to cut off the head. Men are a myriad of things, but men are not monsters. Not now, not ever. Our action at any given moment may make a claim of monstrosity feel correct, though. But feelings ain't facts. King Henry VIII was not known for his marital fidelity. Now, what you might call the kind of guy you wouldn't want to be bringing home to mom. But it's easy to armchair the crown, but heavy as the head has been a well-word worn for more than a while now. Did he have a couple of marriages? Sure. And a couple of divorces? Fine. Were there beheadings? I mean, ultimately, did he cause a rift between England and the Roman Catholic Church? Who hasn't really, though? Like, really. Moving on. We look into the Book of Redemption. Sell it on vibes and do it live. I really need to fire my prop master. Back to Henry and the wayward wives. He wasn't even supposed to be here today. That line was likely how he was feeling when his older brother Arthur died, and the spare became the heir. A legit King Arthur. We were a coin flip away. Death does love to roll the dice, though. My anthology vids can usually stand alone, but this one does at least require the knowledge that the egg is who truly gatekeeps life. Don't at me here. Blame the scientists. I often do. Kinda happy the dislike button's not visible anymore. Okay, so let's put on our ruler hats for this one. Crown, if you prefer. Henry married his dead bro's wife. This will come into play with the Pope in but a moment. They tried to have a living male heir. You know, the job. It was not meant to be. I'm not going to go through the entire line of women here. Henry beat me to that one. What I will state, though, is that I know he loved one. The one he had buried near him. The one who gave him a living male heir. Henry was a giant of a man. Loved fighting, feasting, and once again, more F words. Not fidelity, though. That one was his bad heel. The man, however, was a romantic. He had furniture built just to facilitate love. Had it custom made. Big believer in forging a new path, that one. That's not just dedication to the craft, but to king and country. The Pope wouldn't let him out of a marriage, even though his argument that really shouldn't have let him marry his dead brother's wife in the first place was kind of valid. But if the church played by its own rules, then it wouldn't really be the church. They get to make them, after all. The king would make a bold call, kind of why Sun Tzu tells you never corner an opponent. He would make the call that Rome does not own God, and that he could possibly launch a competitor. Supply and demand. My man needed a son, and would not be taking no for an answer. But as we know, the egg chooses. Yeah. I'm not saying the dude was good. I'm stating that when the option is fail the country or get a new wife, maybe you continue the hunt. My dad was a hunter. Well, it's not often that I throw cover for the current American president, but he has never let having a wife get in the way of, well, anything really. Credit where it's due. If you look at bloodlines, there are boy families and girl families. We don't exactly know why, but I'm tagging a theory on it, because the egg chooses, and he was doing his best work, into a joust that he could never win. He almost lost an eye in a joust. This is how I could work this into a script, so I did. Though not a good man, he was a king that did not bow. And England's still standing, last I checked, as is their church. As the pawn neighbors say, that's kind of brill. Well, that about wraps up this one. Thanks for your time. As always, get good rest. Remember to hydrate. Consume something green if you can. Make good choices. And don't die. When one is cornered and the time runs nigh, remember, don't lose your head.